I'm an objectivist. I do believe that value is real, and I think value is there as part of the way that we live together and work together. I think it's part of the fabric of things. And I think things that often look very much like not values, for example, the notion of a fact, actually these are deeply, I think, deeply normative notions. To say that something is a fact is to mark it as something that we can trust. And so in a sense, I mean, if I'm in a knockabout mood, and why shouldn't I be? It's almost cocktail time. I'm inclined to say, who cares about objectivity? It's not that we're looking for some kind of cosmic, super existing, super world objective truth with a capital T. You know, which if Terry Gilliam was doing the graphics, there'd be the words truth inscribed in stone, rotating in empty star-studded space. That's not what we need. Even if it's there, and I'm an objectivist, so in a sense I do believe it's there, but that's not what we need. What we need is something that we can trust.
I don't think there is such a thing as objective morality, if by that we mean what philosophers refer to as realism, that is the notion that there is a truth of the matter to moral questions, that it's that moral questions are analogous to factual questions or to mathematical questions. I don't think that's the case. That was Kant's perspective, for instance. That's the perspective of most religions, and I can't make sense of it. I don't know where those truths would come and how we would find out about those truths. However, the interesting part, I think, for me, is that just because there is no objective truth out there in terms of ethics, it doesn't mean that ethics is arbitrary. It doesn't mean that that anything goes. There is also a lot of things that don't work, a lot of things that undermine human flourishing, and therefore those things are, in my book, unethical or immoral.
Massimo, because Kant famously said, two things fill me with wonder and awe the more I reflect on them. One is the starry heavens above, and the other is the moral law within. And when Kant says that, he's drawing out a Stoic theme. And the Stoic theme is the contrast of order in the universe, the macrocosm, with order in the soul, the microcosm. And so in Stoicism, these two things go hand in hand. You have the objectivity out there, the transcendent objectivity, and you also have the objectivity that comes from within, the immanent objectivity. So I was very struck that Massimo apparently doesn't have time for the transcendent objectivity. That if we're going to discuss objectivity, then we don't need to worry, actually, with respect to Simon, I don't think we need to worry about the universal, because we don't have to deal with every moral conflict there's ever been. Right now, we have to deal just with this moral conflict. And that's a matter of conversation and negotiation. And I think that when we negotiate with others, I'm thinking the kind of approach that Jürgen Habermas takes to ethics. It starts with dialogue. It starts with conversation. And with any luck, we will be able to negotiate terms out that we can agree to live together by. And I think that some of those terms that we will negotiate our way to will inevitably take the form of rules. And I think one thing that trust really needs, and this brings us back to objectivity and truth, one thing trust really needs is the rule, do not tell lies.
Well, but in fact, we do tell lies all the time for good reasons. I mean, that's one of the standard objections about a Kantian, universal rule against lying. The obvious example is, well, the Nazi officer knocks at my door. Do I lie about him, about hiding the Jew in the basement, right? So again, that's another situation where the general framework is okay. Generally speaking, you don't want to lie, but you need to use your judgment in a specific case. Also,
so whenever you've got refugees in your basement, Massimo, and whenever the Nazis are at the door, you do tell a lie then.
Right, but then I broke the rule.
What percentage of your cases is that?
But that's only one case. There are many other cases where I can do the same in a more, sort of less dramatic situation. Yeah. So then we have to start agreeing on when is it acceptable, when it's not, and I think it gets complicated. As I said, as a general rule, that's okay. As a general sort of tending to behave that way, that's okay. But I want to go back to your issue about transcendence and sort of universal objectivity. I think that was a little too fast. You can't say, oh, well, let's set that aside we don't want to talk about that. We want to talk about what we need to do right now. Well, yeah, but what we need to do right now is informed by whatever transcendental view you may or may not have. So I think we do need to talk about it. And I reject any transcendental view because I think that morality is a human invention.